Call this meeting to order. It's the Board of Public Service for the month of April. Would you like to call the roll, please?
Chair Murphy.
Here.
Commissioner Palmer.
Here.
Commissioner Livermore.
Here.
Commissioner Levinson. Here. Commissioner Campbell. Councilmember Falcon.
She should be here.
Sure.
Oh, she's not.
I thought she was on.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, I remember what you. Oh, yes, yay. I also want members of the public to identify themselves. This is the Nickersons. You two just tell us your name so we can put it in the record.
Sure.
Here.
Charles Stowe is my name.
Jeremy Johnson.
I think you said the email.
I did.
And
Victoria Scataro.
so the first item on our agenda is approval of our minutes of the March 3rd meeting. Let's go ahead and do that. I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second that motion.
Thank you. Any discussion? They're always good.
Chair Murphy.
Yes.
Commissioner Palmer.
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore.
Yes.
Commissioner Levinson. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now I'd like to deviate from our agenda a little bit to take 46 Center Street and 8 High Street as an unsafe. Mr. and Mrs. Nickerson, we generally serve as kind of a quasi-judicial board. The code enforcement office has declared your two properties unsafe. You can hear about them one after the other. And we take information from them and decide whether to agree with their assessment or whether to disagree with it based on the criteria in Chapter 92 of the City Code. Turn that to that right now. So let's start with 46 Center Street, and then it'll be your turn.
So originally I went and looked at both of these properties in December. We had some people who were concerned about it. Actually, everybody in our office had concerns about the two properties. I went and took a look at them. I did an exterior inspection of them, and I saw that roof on the it would be the east side of the building looked like it was about to collapse, and that was in December. And you know, just out of concern of the tenants within, and it's over an egress. There was a guy actively using it, and he was actually coming out of it, out of that side porch when I stopped there. And I talked to him a bit, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm pretty concerned myself." He was like, "I use this every day." And I said, "I wouldn't even advise using this. It looks like it's going to collapse, has severe water damage, has rot. But then the general appearance of the building compared to the rest of the homes in the city of Oneonta is poor. We have rotted elements. We have foundation issues going on there. The entire thing has peeling paint. Joe has done an inspection, claims the inside is, I guess, in acceptable condition. But you wouldn't be able to tell by the outside because the outside is just lacked attention. So I went and looked at 8 High, not intentionally, but just by chance. I saw a guy sitting on the front porch, and I saw a large broken window in the gable.
Let's stop there.
Yep.
And go and stick with 46
Sure,
Center
yep.
Street. And Pierre, you have some photos.
I have a video.
Oh, video.
Okay,
Okay.
the photos we have are a different property, right, Karen?
Yes.
It has audio. I don't know.
This is a 2-family.
Yes.
Yeah, foundation issues. Roof. General maintenance, trash. Rotted elements. Take multiple weeks. Should we roll out the foundation, so there's a disrepair on the outside of the house? Or just both porches and fourth edition. There's a roof right there as well.
Okay, would you remind us what items you had identified under 92 subsection 1 for this property, conditions?
Yeah, so I, without reading them word for word, I identified C, D, H, I. And that was it on 4.6, and they're improperly distributed loads on the floors or roofs. Those which have been damaged by fire, wind, or other causes to become dangerous to life or the occupants or people in the city of Moniana. Those that which are so attached that may fall and injure members of the public. And those which are dangerous to the general welfare of the people of the city of Moniana.
I was wondering about egress, considering, are there other exits from the apartment that you talked about that would be available if the roof of the porch collapsed?
Out the back way.
They're back,
There's two entrances in the front of the house. And just what you mentioned, there is an entrance in the back. I admit it looks pretty shabby, but there can be, we have a contractor who's going to help us. I can't climb anymore. I've got cancer and high blood pressure, and I just can't do it. So I finally found someone who's a good mechanic, and he can help us. Oh, High Street is another question.
Well, let's not talk about High Street yet, okay?
Yeah.
Let's first talk about 4.6 Center. I'm glad you found a contractor. Do you have a time frame in which it looks like this work can be done?
What no, just you're going to have to. They're kind of related in a sense. The contractor said to me, "Jack, you better put a new roof on 8 High Street," and which I'm going to pay for and do, and I have the money to do it. And now he's waiting for this weather just to kind of straighten up a little bit. But I am going to have a brand new roof on 8 High Street, and he'll fix that window that this fellow got drunk or something and fell through it, you know.
See, we got a guy up there that he hasn't paid his rent in almost 6 months. And he's getting drunk. He told Jack he got drunk and fell in the window.
But this is High Street. Let's just hold off on High Street just for a few
okay.
minutes. Let's continue to talk about 4.6 Center.
So
Because we're probably going to, based on the condition of the porch, we're probably going to declare this unsafe, but we want to order it repaired according to a timetable that's both acceptable to code enforcement and consistent with what you have done. So that's what we want to hear from you, is what your timetable is for the repair of, well, again, we're on 46 Center right now, so let's,
Why I say the two are connected, because we gotta finish that roof job first. And that's, well, hopefully, I think in your notice, you said you wanted it done within 30 days.
okay, that's good to know. So,
That's
board members, questions for Mr. Nickerson or for the code office?
I have a question about the egress. So we said that there's a way in for in and out, front and back, but are both apartments accessible to that back entrance instead of that
Right.
front porch? Okay.
We could have that not be used.
Right,
But that could be part of our directive
that's what I was asking.
with a,
Yeah, it's pretty, yeah, it's being held up with a piece of board there, so that's concerning, so.
okay. What is your expectation about the repair of this property to eliminate the chapter 92? If the interior is okay, what timetable were you thinking you would prefer?
Well, I think one of the things that's gonna come into play is, I mean, when you look at the house and when you look at how long, I mean, I can remember this, at I don't know how many years, when's the last time you guys painted it? Do you remember?
But that's not exactly a fire
It was
safety.
before they did
It's
this
not, but I
New
could
York
bring
State
it back
law
next
thing.
month for blighted.
I'm sorry, we didn't
Oh,
stop
I'm
talking when
sorry.
we should have.
Him and I painted it way back when, before they started this state law thing with lead paint and stuff. Him and I did it, and it was good then, but it's been years, just like John said.
I think the concern is that it's not just a matter of public safety anymore. It's now also a matter of becoming a blighted property as well, because there's complaints on the property from neighbors surrounding the area.
And
So
also, it has some hazardous.
hazardous, right? So
conditions.
that's what we need to worry about right now, but is like 60 days enough time to get that taken care of?
If,
The hazardous portion?
it seems to me that if the hazardous portion is the major hazardous portion is the porch.
That's the top.
Right, that's the top,
Yeah.
that could be, we could order
Avoided,
that,
right.
not
Closed.
to use it.
Right.
And until the porch is repaired, and check that it's been secured so that the tenant can't go in and out. I mean, we don't want, for your sake and for our sake, once we've taken it on as a property that we're concerned
Well,
about. we don't want
I
it
would
to-
block it off so that nobody can use it.
Okay, but first we have to decide whether it's unsafe. So let's determine whether we agree with the code enforcement office, and then we'll talk about remedy.
Okay.
I mean, it's good to know where everybody stands, but it's really, our first step must be to determine whether it meets the criteria of chapter 92. And we'll give you a copy of, this is the portion of chapter 92 that helps us determine whether, so these are the conditions that the property meets, and he said that he is doing, let's see, this one, and this one, and this one, and this one, those, on this property, this is 46 Center Street. Okay, so based on the testimony that we've heard, the evidence that has been presented, the response by the Nickersons, do we have a motion to declare this unsafe based on section C, D, H, and I?
I motion that.
And I seconded it.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, go ahead.
Chair Marson?
Yes.
Commissioner Palmer?
Yeah.
Commissioner Livermore?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawrence?
Yes.
Okay, based on the determination that this property is unsafe, the question is, what is the remedy? And we have three options that are provided for us in the code. One is that the building be repaired. One, that it is vacated until the repairs take place. And the third is the demolished, which I don't think is the case in this case. So, and I don't think it's necessary if we can order that the dangerous entrance is blocked off for the time being. I don't think we need to have it vacated. So the question is, we should have it repaired. We should order it repaired with the blocking off of the entrance, of that entrance immediately, like within 5 days. And then we'll give you 60 days to get the portions repaired.
60 days to get your dirt done.
Well, if the entrance is blocked off, there isn't any danger.
But right now, we're asking them to knock that off within the next 5 days, right?
That's the rear
Can I
entrance.
just ask a
Sorry.
question before we go?
Yes,
to
of course.
question? You have somebody to do the repairs. I know we're talking, you're looking at both houses, right? So I know that,
The 8
High
High.
Street is the other. They're looking to do the roof repair on that immediately as soon as the weather clears up so that they
That's
can
right.
do
We gotta
that.
put a complete roof on it.
Okay, and then was your next step to then move over to Center Street and then go back to 8 High? Did you discuss any of that? I'm just trying to figure a timeline for you because,
Well, yeah, I really, really want to get that fixed. There's a lot of work up there.
High
to
Street,
four-
you're looking to
yeah,
get done first.
Up to 4 and 6 hundred, there's no question about that.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion that we give this family 90 days to do repairs after they've in 5 days boarded up the unsafe area in and out, since there is
Or
another.
somehow
egress.
blocked it off.
Correct.
Instead of the
So
60 days.
I would actually, if it were me, I would block off the stairway
stairway.
getting onto the porch so
So
that
that
it
nobody
can't,
can go up and down.
and also lock the door so that it can't be.
And then we're gonna change it to 60 to 90 days then?
I don't know,
After-
that's my motion, you don't
after
have to
they-
agree
after
with
they
it,
block
but that's
off the
my
stairs,
motion,
right?
only because there's two property, my logic is there's two properties involved. And it looks like 8 High Street is much more in disarray, am I correct, code, than, and I'm assuming is High Street
Yeah,
occupied as well?
yes,
Yeah,
and I just want it, so you're discussing repairing just the porch or the other violations?
no, all violations need to be repaired, however, giving them 90 days instead of 60 days, giving them 90 days to do a repair. Close off that egress, completely block the stairs, so no one can use that egress, that's the porch that's really in disarray.
Oh, okay, all right, now I get you.
Some of
I agree.
the items that you've identified are more on the blighted
Mhm.
Right,
listing than they are in the unsafe listing, right? And so we can't necessarily order the house to be painted because it's not one of the things that is available to us under unsafe. We could another time do something under blighted, but we're not there yet. So I would suggest if you would identify for the Nickersons, the items that you think are health and safety.
So the porch,
Mm-hmm.
and the porch, the other porch has a roof leak as well.
Okay,
So
So
that's
both
gonna have to be addressed.
right.
right, but it's okay to walk upon and enter in
It
and
appears
out.
to be now, I mean,
Yeah, right.
is it
right.
gonna collapse in
Right.
2 weeks? I don't know, the ceiling, but it does have an active water leak.
Okay,
I would think something small like the gutter on that particular side working properly might help a little bit.
Right.
You know, like when you look at the back stairs, the handrail that's in place right now, even though it's a small thing, now you're reduced down to one exit, the handrail doesn't meet code. It's a 2x6, you can't use those, you haven't been able to use them for many years. But, you know, that's the stuff I'm thinking about, fire safety,
Yeah, right,
right, that's what we're concerned about.
the general property maintenance. That's gonna have to be addressed, I mean,
Yeah,
unless we
the
wanna let it
trash.
sit.
Yeah, no, well, yes, but we've got to talk about health and safety at this point, so let's.
So that, are you saying that other, before we put my motion forward, you're saying that other egress is not feasible with either?
Well, what I'm saying is, now that you're eliminating an exit,
Right.
you're virtually eliminating it. And if you're sharing that rear exit, then I would say as a code official, well, I want to make sure that rear exit is safe then. And, you know, the tenants that are living there, I would think would need a proper handrail. I mean, so we might say, well, you have to replace that to meet what the code states. And it's a minor thing, but some people
Some
need the
needs to be
assistance
done,
of it, you
correct.
know?
I mean, I think too, if you want to really just get technical, like if you had someone from the Department of State sitting here and said, what's a health and safety violation? They would say, everything in the property maintenance code is a health and safety violation. So they would argue that peeling paint is a health and safety violation, which is why it's in the property maintenance code.
Well, let's do this. Let's take our action on the things that are most critical. And then ask the code enforcement office to itemize the things that they want repaired, which weren't itemized there or necessarily on your video, you know, and send that to the Nickersons. And tell, and let that be part of the 90 days. So we say immediately secure the dangerous porch.
And 90 days.
And make the other
make the
repairs
other repairs
within
per the code office.
90 days.
I'm good with them.
Is that
Yeah.
acceptable?
Acceptable to me.
Okay, so are we ready? So who made the motion?
I did, and
Okay, right, good.
I need a second.
Right, further discussion. All right,
Chair Mercer,
yes.
Commissioner Palmer,
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Evans.
Yes.
Thank you very much. So you understand that we've given you 90 days to address the things that are, but the code enforcement officer will itemize those items that they have identified as health and safety. And you'll work with them,
Oh, you bet.
but let them know where you are
Yeah.
on the.
Well, Joe, I know Joe pretty well, and
Okay, good.
I asked him,
Good.
do you think this is something that we need to do immediately?
That's great, especially since.
I'm
you have
very
a contract.
careful with the inside of those houses. I never let the hallways be and garbage in them. I make sure, you can ask Joe, if the fire alarms all work.
That's great.
And I also am very careful. We have our fire extinguishers checked every year. Because I'm telling you, you've only got just seconds if you got a fire.
Absolutely.
Those old houses are like tinders. And they'll, just like that, they're gone.
So since you have a contractor, we want to make sure you have an itemized list yourself of the things that we're particularly looking at. And that you will keep in contact with the.
Well,
Okay, now, so now let's move on to
are
eight.
the people from the code enforcement going to give me a list of what they
Yes.
think?
Well, our job is to make your property, help you make your property safe. And that's really.
Well, I
our
mean,
job.
naturally, safety is a thing you always.
So now let's
You
talk
see,
about.
I have something that's, I've got this confounded sickness, and, I'm 90 years old. And I've been climbing, I'm too slow. I gotta get somebody who works fast and gets things done. I used to do it. I know how to do it. I've done it and done it and done it, but what can I tell you? I gotta pay somebody else to do it. It's not really, and another thing is, I'm like, gosh, I don't know about you guys have noticed, but the prices are just astronomical.
Yeah, it's.
A guy wanted $30,000 to fix those two porches at 4 and 6 cents. 30,000, it's a down payment on a new house. Please, come on.
All right, so 8 High Street, let's look at some pictures, well, let's hear about 8 High Street first.
Can you get his business
And
card?
Hey, Patrick's right here.
Go ahead. Well, first we'll hear from you.
So,
Now we're
Right.
It works beautiful, I swear.
so what I was saying before is, coincidentally, I went by High Street. And, there was garbage outside, so it caught my attention. Then I saw a guy sitting on the front porch. And, I got out and I looked at the garbage, and then the guy on the front porch, I was like, I said, "Are you a tenant here?" And he said he was, and I looked up and I saw the broken window in the gable. And I asked him about it, and I said, "How did that happen?" And he was like, "Yeah, I think he admitted that, it was his fault, and it's been that way for a while." And then I said, I noticed there was tarp on the back of the roof, and I said, "Is the roof leaking?" And he said, "Oh yeah, let me show you." So he took me into his unit and he said, "Yeah, take a look at that." And the ceiling was collapsed it was probably, I don't know, a quarter to a third of the ceiling had collapsed in his kitchen. And I said, "Oh boy, that's, that came down from the roof to the second floor to the first floor." So, and he took me in his bedroom. His smoke detector didn't work then, but, who knows, it could work now.
They're a 30-year or 20-year batteries.
The
on
10-year sealed batteries,
Yeah.
yeah. So I said, well, maybe we'll have to get an inspection, and then I think Joe, I don't know when you did an inspection there.
Yeah, that was last. I don't know when it was last summer.
But I took a general condition. I knew it belonged to them because I've known for years it's belonged to them. And I was like, boy, this one's rough too. And again, for, seeing the broken window and seeing the rest of the stuff, and we got skunk complaint there prior, that Joe and I went to a couple of times. I was like, we just, for the health and safety of the people who live here, we probably should do something.
And I think the Nickersons agree that that one needs more work. That's why they're, so let's look at the pictures. Okay, there's the porch support.
Now it's hard to see, but the windows in the second floor there.
There's the broken window. Now the fence looks like it could use some attention.
We pay to have that garbage taken away.
And they leave the lids on the ground. What's wrong with that?
That was just, I take pictures of every side of the house when I go
That's
through.
a triple. I built that.
Now, Joe came up when we had that stuff, you were there too.
Mhm.
And we put up that thing that you told us to put up, and nothing more went in there.
Oh, under the porch, yeah.
Yeah, under the porch.
Oh, yeah.
And then here a while ago, I can't tell you how long ago, he turns around, the guy upstairs turns around and says something was wrong with the furnace. It was throwing the smell off. And I says, "What is it?" And he goes, "I don't know." So we got Gregory up there. He took the furnace, the pipes and everything apart. He didn't find a thing. That cost us $200 and some for nothing.
Yeah, maybe, I'm sorry about your tenant. Would you tell us what this is?
Again, that's another picture I take of every single side. I mean,
Yeah,
It
so
shows
is
the
this
roof
an
cover.
exit door or is it not an exit door?
that's off the kitchen, right?
That's the door off the kitchen. Yeah,
And that's a screen door? And then a.
no, it's a glass door and a wooden door with glass that goes in.
I own that house 60 years now.
Okay, so, this one, the items identified, and you have your list, so it's the same list. The items identified are those which have improperly distributed loads upon the floors of roofs, or in which some are overloaded or have insufficient strength to be reasonably safe for the purpose used. D, those which have been damaged by fire, wind, or other causes, so as to become dangerous to life, safety, morals, or general welfare of the occupants or the people of the city of Oneonta. Those, H, those which have parts which are so attached that they may fall in with members of the public or property. And those which because of their condition are unsafe, unsanitary, and dangerous to the health, moral safety, or general welfare of the people of the city.
Did you talk to Scott over there?
He was a big fella.
This big guy with, he's a little small, sits out front smoking all day.
Yeah, he was smoking when I was there.
So tell us about your plans for the property. I am sorry that there's a person who hasn't paid their rent. You know, it's very difficult.
Well, see, Jack went up there to get that window and he told him there was a dark window up there. And Jack knocked on the door and the guy didn't answer. And the guy next to him says he's not there. So we thought he left. So Jack went in there and he was in bed. He says, "Get the hell out of here." So Jack turned around and came out, and that's the reason why the window didn't take him out.
Yeah, it's
And truthfully, you can't go in that room without his okay. And I went down to the city down here about eviction. And I took the old eviction papers down, and she says, "Oh, no, you can't do this, you gotta do it online." And I says, "Ma'am," I said, "I don't even know how to run a computer." Well, she told me to find somebody. So I found somebody, I got the papers now, but it's been ever since December on, and he hasn't paid any rent.
You have filed eviction papers, you said?
No, I just got the papers, yeah.
I was wondering. No,
it's tough.
yeah.
It's very tough. So I think we can make a decision about the conditions of the property. And then we can discuss possibly whether there's, what the most efficient remedy is. So based on C, D, H, and I.
I'm sorry, you guys have not been in this house to check inside, interior,
Yes.
wall?
Yes.
Just
So I
that doesn't
haven't,
fall under, like, A doesn't fall under there, like the roof is falling in the kitchen, like.
so what I saw, and this is what I know too. Joe was the last one who did an inspection. I simply followed this guy straight to the kitchen.
So it wasn't a technical inspection.
It wasn't an inspection of the interior, and I was like, I have enough here, so I left. Since then, she said the ceiling has been repaired. The
Okay.
roof hasn't been repaired, but the ceiling in the kitchen's been repaired. I haven't seen that repair, but I'm sure it's.
But if it's still leaking, then it's gonna need to be repaired again.
But they have a plan for, they have.
Absolutely, but my
for the-
concern is that there's somebody dwelling in the property, whether they're paying or not.
I mean, they're dwelling there, and if it's unsafe because the roof is ready to collapse.
Would it be helpful to you if we ordered it vacated and
Yeah,
you took
that's
that
what
to
I'm
the
trying to
court as
figure
well
out.
as your eviction papers? And then you
If
could,
we order
we
this
would give
vacated, it
you
would help
assistance
you.
in getting rid of your,
Would that help you?
would that help you?
No, because I got the eviction papers now, I can,
Yes, but if you file for your eviction and we order it to be vacated, it's a lot easier of a process for you
And
as the
then you can
homeowner.
come back in a month and say, they're evicted, And we would lift that part of it
Right,
so that you could
reoccupy it
reoccupy.
once.
I mean, we're just asking because that's part of what
Would it
we,
help you?
well, let's first decide whether it's unsafe. So, or did we already do that?
We didn't,
Alright.
sorry, because I went into the whole trying to figure that
Right,
out.
okay,
in my
let's
brain.
let's do that thing. Okay. So I make a motion. Who will second it?
I do.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the condition of the property?
Chairman,
Yes.
Commissioner Homer,
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Levinson.
Okay, now the remedy.
Okay.
So we're going to order this, the roof repaired and the supports on the porch repaired and the window repaired within 60 days.
Isn't that the motion? That could be a motion.
Can we request that the house be inspected to vacate if necessary? Do we have that within our discretion?
Dana, would, Paula, how many tenants do you have in there now? Because I don't know, you're gonna lose, she might have a good tenant in there besides the one that she may not want. I don't know.
We got 3 at High Street,
Yeah,
Now, how
one
many?
that's not paying.
Okay, there's the one you want to get rid of, the other 2 you'd rather keep. If you could, I mean, I understand what.
Well, see, Scott was gonna leave here back in February. And, the adult protection in Cooperstown called Jack and said that he's leaving. Well, okay, you can leave anytime you want. So when it came down for him to leave, he refused to. So he wanted to stay there at High Street. I called, now we've had a few problems with Scott. And I called adult protection, I called RSS down here. And they tell me he has rights. I says, I know he has rights, but he brings in boxes and he's got, his room is full. Full. Adult protection, he threw them out. They were having people
is
come
this
down.
the one you want to evict anyways?
No.
Oh, okay. All right, this is.
I don't know if he's gonna leave or what, I have no idea.
You sound to me like.
Okay, I
Let's
make a
just order
motion
it
that
for-
we order the repairs to be done within 60 days.
I agree.
And an immediate cleanup of the garbage around the area, just get somebody to come and break that up now that the snow is gone.
Can we also make sure the fence, it looks kind of falling down, I don't know if there's kids in the neighboring yard or anything, can we have the fencing removed for
Oh, yeah, the fence.
the fences in pretty tough shape there, and boards are hanging, I'm sure nails are hanging with it.
That is your fence, then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's up. I mean,
I mean,
it's
it
basically-
technically doesn't have to be fenced in the house, it's just, it was a fenced in yard, I'm assuming, and that's what it was, but there's gotta be nails sticking out of boards there and everything. That's part of this cleanup.
All right. That's our order.
We have a motion, do we have a motion here?
Not yet.
I'll mention
Not
that.
sure that's exactly how to word it.
I think Carrie has it.
Okay.
I'll motion it.
I'll second. Okay,
Yes.
yes.
Chairman,
Yes.
Commissioner Palmer,
Yes.
yes.
What? Said Commissioner Palmer. Yes.
Well, she's here. What's going on?
Sorry, Commissioner Palmer,
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes,
Commissioner Levinson.
Yes.
Mark did that pretty good though, because her lips did not.
They barely moved, yeah.
All right, thank you.
That's the
Code
wrap.
Enforcement Office. And we'll see, we hope not to see you again,
Hopefully we helped you.
but do let them know if it turns out that it would be helpful to you we make an order to vacate. If you continue to have problems with your eviction.
And if you need carpentry, these gentlemen sitting here know a lot about that.
That's right.
That's right.
They're very handy and they do very good work.
Yeah, so maybe you'd like to talk to these.
So I want to talk to them. I'm being serious, I'm not being facetious, I'm being serious. This is
Yeah, let's,
12 tribes and they're very handy. They're great.
Let's take a quick, let's move on then, thank you.
Good luck.
We want to move on to our 134 Main Street water appeal.
Yes.
What are we doing now?
134 Main,
134 water appeal.
Yellow Deli.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, Carrie reminded me that we usually pass a motion that penalties are waived until we make a decision on the water and sewer bill appeals. So I make a motion that penalties on water and sewer bill appeals are waived until a decision is made, and then the property owner has 30 days in which to pay the bill.
I'll second that motion.
So that's my motion, and you seconded it, thank you. Okay, Markley? Yes.
Commissioner Palmer,
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Evans. Yes.
Okay, great, so let's take 134 Main Street. Thank you, guys. Are you gonna hang around and tell us that?
No, I was just gonna say about the snow appeal, which obviously she's asked for next month.
Right, so,
I've seen snowy.
so let's see, 3 East Street snow appeal would like to be put over. Okay, we'll talk about that, the date of that actual thing. Okay, so thank you for coming in. So 134 Main Street. Your appeal reads. I will go quickly through it. We would like to make a appeal concerning the water and sewer bill of the Yellow Deli, which is located on Yellow Street. This appeal applies to the period of September to December 2021. Normally, it's only 60 days you have to appeal, but their bill went out at the beginning of February, so they're still within their time. At first, the leak was hardly detectable, then slowly worsened over the following months. It was discovered and repaired in the evening of Saturday, January 1st. That was a detailed description of what they did. And then we request that you please not charge for the portion of sewer which was lost directly into the ground. Our modest estimate of the loss was 414,100 gallons. We request that you please charge us as close to cost as possible for the water loss due to the leak for the fourth quarter of 2021, estimated at 414,000 gallons, 414,100 gallons. Thank you for your letter. So the water department and I have done some looking into their property. We did receive an email from our site visit, which says the leak was in a crawl space under the kitchen. The water drained into the stone floor. It didn't drain into any floor drains. I checked the meter and it was not turning at all when no one was using water, Rob. So, so the only time it was leaking was when they were actually using it, but then it was right flowing into them. Okay, so with that in mind, the code permits us to look back 3 years and use that as our 3 reliable years. In this case, however, they're billed quarterly. So the finance office and I and Mary Ann in the engineering department looked at 9 months, which would be 3 billing cycles. It would account for COVID so that we weren't looking at 3 years when we were fully operational. It also was more consistent with your current, what you're doing now, and you gave us some excellent data. But basically, we looked at August of 21, well, we looked at January of 21 to August of 21, so that is basically 9 months of usage. So August, July, June, May, April, March, February, January, and actually it goes back to December, which wasn't read until January 21st. We took all of those usages, and there's a little box up here that you can look at. So for those, the total usage was 424,950 gallons. That was the total usage. Divided by, for those 3 quarters.
The 3 quarters, okay.
It was divided by 3, so that came out to 141,650 gallons, which is quite consistent with what your quarterly amount is generally.
Right.
And at the 2022 billing rate, which again, the rates went up this year,
Right.
that comes out to, for the sewer charge, $504.08 for the sewer charge. That would be reduced from the $3,784.86 to, so that they would get a credit on their account of $3,280.78. We think the finance office, the engineering department, and I think that's a very reasonable, within the code solution. Unfortunately, we can't reduce your water use because it was treated water and it unfortunately went into the crawl space, but it still was our treated water. So that's why we charge rates. And we do have our system of billing is something called conservation pricing. So the more you use, the more you pay by volume.
Right.
The less you use, the less you pay per gallon. That's just the way our system works. It actually, it creates capacity at a higher rate for those users that use a lot. That's why your bill is so ridiculously high, because that was a capacity that we unanticipated. So I would like to make a motion that we reduce their sewer charge for 2022, for 2021 to $504.08.
That's the sewer.
Sewer charge. The water charge would remain the same, but the sewer charge would be reduced by $3,200. Would you like to speak on that, or are you, go ahead. I mean, this is your chance.
If we had anything to say, it would just be, it's, we understand and respect that y'all are doing your jobs, and it is, like you said, an extraordinarily high water bill for water that's lost. And if it wasn't on a, and I don't know how you say it, like you said it's a
Step system.
step system. If somehow it could be, if we could be charged at a lower rate for the water which was lost, because we're not purchasing the water for use, we're not using a exorbitant amount of water. It's being, there's this fitting that's, we don't even know about it, and we fix it, we get the water bill a few days later, and
I'm sure it was shocking.
yeah, it is, you're trying to maintain a business and so on. So that would be that was our concern part, the 2-part concern.
Well, part of the reason that we have to do it like Ms. March said is that, Ms. Merzick said, is that it's processed through. It did go through the pipes to you, even though it went into your floor, it did go through. So we look at it kind of the same way that we look at people that are filling their pools, I being one of them, by the way. And we use the water, we use the city water, it's treated, it is what it is, and we have to pay for it.
It would cost less if you didn't have to make as much, even for you all, you're saying. So that's how much you're saying that's how much it actually costs you to do the water.
Right,
That's
The water
okay, you're
that's
saying.
going, because it's
They'd get
treated
a
coming
loss
through
for
the
it.
pipes, so we're
Right.
paying for the treatment. as
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
so.
And actually,
Exactly.
our rates are based on what it costs us to do it. We aren't
Right,
making a
We don't
profit.
make a profit.
Right, and-
Utility,
Okay.
fiduciary relation, responsibility to the city of Oneonta to recognize that it costs money to provide really clean, good water.
Yeah.
I mean, we have really good water.
And we respect that. We don't, there's absolutely nothing, no bad bones in our body about it. We just want to, that was our only appeal about it, was we just want,
It's not pills to swallow.
it's totally fine. We
It is,
understand.
I know.
Yeah,
It's,
we appreciate the offer. I
yeah,
mean, for the sewer, that's
Yeah.
really.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
very helpful.
So you basically satisfied the other part of the appeal anyways, because like you said, you're not making a profit on any of the
No.
water anywhere.
You
So-
gave us a little bit more than we were even anticipating. That you're doing 424,000 and we were thinking it was 400,000, so
We'll
that's
take the-
$20,000.
We'll keep the.
No. We're thankful because we knew it really was more.
Yeah.
We're trying to be conservative in our numbers, just, we didn't want to.
Well,
Marge worked hard on it to make sure.
We-
we're fair,
Yeah.
We go by our meter,
right?
Yeah,
and 424,950 gallons is what
yeah.
you used when it looked like your meter was where you were
Yeah,
using
yeah,
it
yeah.
normally,
That's
right?
it,
Not-
yeah.
It wasn't the almost 800,000 gallons that went into the floor.
Right,
Yeah, right.
exactly.
So you're paying for the 800,000 gallons that went into the floor on your water bill,
Yeah.
but you're not paying for that on your sewer bill.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's really what we're offering is
Yeah.
that as a normal quarterly charge. That's
Thank
your normal.
We're very happy for that.
So,
Yeah.
Thank you.
so I am making the motion that we go by the calculation that was identified by the finance office and engineering of reducing their sewer charge for the first quarter, no, for the last quarter of 2021, which
Thank you.
we just billed, from 3,784.86 to 504.08.
I second
What
that.
was that? What was the exact figure?
50408.
504.08.
I second it.
Thank
You heard
you.
me.
Any
Sorry.
further discussion?
Chair Mercy,
Yes.
Commissioner Palmer,
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Levinson. Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for coming in.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's good. That's good.
We-
Yeah,
we-
it's
we kind of split the baby.
They're right across the
Let's-
street from us. It's
So-
7 High Street. Yeah.
So we have,
So you get to look at it.
several water appeals. Well, let's go back.
Thanks,
Yeah,
gentlemen.
yeah, thank you.
So-
Thank you for coming.
So I am going to be out of town the first Thursday in May and the first Thursday in June, and I cannot change it. So the question is, I'm also going to be out of town the second Thursday in May.
So narrows it down to 2:30.
So we can't mess with
So
the
we have a couple of choices. Let's talk about May first.
Okay.
May
Fifth.
initially.
Yes.
We could meet earlier than the week. I'm proposing that we meet Thursday afternoon, April 28th, and let that be our May meeting. Now, before you say yes to that, we also could just not have a May meeting and do all of this in June. Just wait till June and have a meeting
Why
in
don't we do
June.
that?
It's up to you, it's up to you. Looks like things are piling up.
I can't do the 28th, just so you know.
Okay,
Oh,
and Andrew's not here, so maybe do you want to do it? May?
19th would be the next date. You said you can't be there the 5th or the 12th.
Yeah, I don't want to do it.
So what do you think?
How
Combine
about
the
can
two
you do a
months?
Wednesday? Can we change it to a Wednesday? Does it have to be on a Thursday?
It can be whatever day you want, but
We have to put. the
Wednesday, the
announcement
18th and Wednesday, the 25th, both have 4:00 meetings.
out. How about the
Right, so
4th?
no, but I think let me get to my calendar, just a minute.
Yep.
I think what Dana is proposing is we do it on the 4th of May.
4th of May.
Yes, that's what I'm proposing.
I'm scheduled open.
Oh,
That's what I'm
4th
proposing.
of May.
Yeah.
And that works for you?
Unfortunately.
Yeah,
No good for, no good for Pastor Phil. Okay.
Does that work for you though, Dana, the 4th?
yeah, no, it doesn't work for Phil.
Doesn't work for Pastor Phil.
So
For the rest of you.
And I'm gonna be gone from the 5th until probably the 14th. So I don't want to make it so late in May that we're gonna have a meeting just right after that, because then we might as well just have June, right?
We only have 4 pulling over from this month to next month, plus the other one we spoke about, so 5 so far, plus whatever comes in, which really will be water bills.
I mean, it may be one meeting, but here's the June. Now let's talk about June. June, I'm proposing that it be the 9th, which is the following Thursday at 4 o'clock. Thursday, June, no, you're not, that's a no for you?
I got back-to-back cleanings for my children that day.
Ooh.
And the only reason I can't do it is because it's impossible to get cleanings for them.
I think that might be true.
I always steer clear of the first Thursdays of the
Yeah,
month,
that's
so.
right, and this is just a problem. I mean, if I could change so that I was gonna be here, I would, but I just can't. So let's talk about what other days are available to you in June? What days are good in June?
I am gone that whole first week of June.
So the first week is in
June
the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Anyway.
So
No,
6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th are all bad. That's the second week, well,
Second week.
first full week.
how about Friday, are you here that Friday or do
Fridays.
Do Fridays.
Charter
No.
prohibits
Charter prohibits.
Wait, maybe.
Can't do
Charter
Fridays.
prohibits it. You can't do Fridays.
Okay. Why is that?
I don't know, boards and commissions can't meet on Fridays unless it's like an exigent circumstance.
Really?
All right, so maybe here's another thought. What's everybody doing on May 26th, which is the weekend before Memorial Day? That's Thursday. You're busy.
No, it works for me.
26, you said,
26th of May.
fly with me.
It doesn't work for me.
Sorry. We're supposed to have a 4 o'clock meeting that day anyway.
Okay,
I have a safety meeting for school.
all right, so let's talk about the 19th. I think I'm gonna be here on the 19th.
19th is wide open for the city.
19th, 19th?
19's fine for me. Of May, you're saying?
And what we'll do is we'll just do that and have no June meeting.
So it'll be a combined May, June.
It'll be a combined May, June.
Combining May and June together.
Right, so May 19th will be our meeting and we will not have a meeting in June.
Sorry, I'm starting to make everybody's life difficult.
That's okay. This is why we have to talk about it, because all of these things all these people have to be notified when the
Right.
meeting actually is. And I feel bad.
I would change those cleanings, but
No, that's okay. No, the 19th may work. No, it'll give them
my
more
mom's at
time.
that point because it's impossible.
One of my problems is that these water bill appeals take a
long time.
tremendous amount of
Right.
data collection.
Right.
I can't do them like, whoop, they're crazy. So I would prefer, and that's what we're going to have. We already have 2 more that have come in,
Yep, so
and
that's 7.
Okay.
That's
so I'm just gonna kind of do water bills on that.
7, it's 7, and then you gotta start removal.
And I can start working on them, but I just don't wanna do them in the middle of.
We're gonna go to June.
Be prepared, guys.
May 19 and no June.
May 9th, 4 o'clock.
No June.
I told you, Carrie, there's no way of knowing. So let's just take let's